Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the GRP. Back at it again on a Sunday after a pretty good weekend of fights. We had some craziness going on all around the combat sports world, announcements, and everything else. What's going on, 78 Northwest? Thank you for jumping in. I appreciate you. Hope you're doing well. Tyler Betts, what's up? Jumping in early. DJ Infinity, appreciate you for jumping in while you can. And Johnny in already as well. Armin going to have to win 3 more fights before he gets a title shot. Armin's going to have to calm his ass down too outside of the UFC because he's just out there wilding. But you know what? That I guess that lends itself to his appeal, and that's part of what we're going to talk about tonight because, you know, he had a match at RAF 6 this past weekend, and, you know, some stuff popped off. He went crazy, and there was drama. So that's definitely something we got to talk about. There was some crazy announcements happening over the weekend as well, and it cleared up a couple things for us, at least. Maybe one thing, a couple things. So speculations are all over the place with that stuff. But as far as we're concerned, it is what it is. Yeah, but I mean, as far as I'm concerned, listen, the craziness has to happen sometimes, I guess, especially if you're not getting what you want in the UFC. You do stuff outside of the UFC and you keep your name out there and relevant, and sometimes you're just gonna be a hothead, I guess. And Armin always seems a bit more composed than you would think, but then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, he just loses his shit and does some crazy stuff. It's all good. It is what it is. He's not one of the worst ones, but you know, sometimes you can't get too crazy. You got to make sure you keep yourself in check and make sure that you are, make sure that you're not messing things up for yourself inside the UFC. But Armin knock out Peter Griffin after he lost the food fight to him. Yeah, when I first saw Armin, I really thought he was like a real level-headed dude, but yeah, he's proven to be a little bit opposite of that. He's going nuts out there. So we're definitely going to have to get into that and what happened at RAF 6 this past weekend. I didn't even think to talk about it on Wednesday because I was trying to actually make the what's up, Antoine? Welcome in. I wanted to make Wednesday's show a little bit shorter, but at the same time, we just got into stuff, and it is what it is. You know, unless I have to be out of here as quickly as possible, which happens every once in a while. I try to just go with the flow and see what happens, but it's all good, and we had a good time. So hopefully we have another one here. So I have a journalist friend who was there at the event last night, and he said the opposite wrestler kept tapping Armin's head. Oh, yeah, that's kind of Armin versus Raja Bucket. Holy shit, Tyler Betts. Oh man, that's funny. Yeah, I think that dude that he's like, take me down for $1,000. That's one of those things, man. He's one of those guys that just pisses people off because he's a little bit too cocky for his own good in certain ways. But at the same time, he's proven himself over and over and over again. But, you know, it always seemed like a social media bit of sorts. And then he started kind of getting out there and, showing what he could do in other ways. And, yeah, you can't get too crazy with the UFC fighter thinking just because he can't take you down, he can't whoop your ass. He definitely can. Can you fight? They can wrestle. Maybe not as good as him. But can you fight? You know what I'm saying? Like, can that guy fight? And it shows after he can't really hang too much because he was in a ambulance after the fact. But I mean, he was fine. It's just yeah, there's a lot more to it. So I shouldn't really make it sound like there's nothing going on there. But who can sucker punch harder? Can't wait to see who Colby fights. I don't give a shit about Colby. I would prefer if we just never saw him fight again. But those are my opinions. Armin should fight Bradley Martin in a street fight. Oh man, I just think people got to realize how naturally crazy high level UFC fighters are, like, to want to do that for a living and to be good at it. Yeah, they're not every one of them are that way, but I still think it takes a little bit of something extra in the mental areas to or I should say maybe missing something there that I don't know. I think it's a little bit of both. But I think to be a UFC fighter and just to be able to stick with that, you know, that way of life, uh Johnny. Oh man.
Another one.
So just to be able to do that kind of stuff, I do think that yeah, I do think it takes a little something extra there to be able to want to continue to compete with that. I mean, just like the Diaz brothers, you know, especially Nick would always say he doesn't even like fighting. He hates it, but he's good at it, and it's what makes him money. What up, Tyler Fish? But yeah, he doesn't necessarily like doing it. And while that sounds like pussy shit, according to some people, I think it's just you know, it's you know, I don't know. It's tough to say about the Diaz brothers because they'll get down and fight regardless of where they are or whatever. But he does say he doesn't like to fight, and it's kind of crazy because then he still does it. But you know, Nick Diaz is a little bit of a different story, and we all know that he's definitely got some different stuff going on in his head. So I guess that's a bad example, but yeah, the RAF stuff was crazy. Here's the thing, man. I hate myself for this because I actually thought about going to that event, considering it was here in Arizona, and you know, but there was just it's just been too crazy, and I get what you're saying. Actually, no, but what I'm saying is O'Sully was an industry plan. Oh, Juice Man. It's been a minute since you jumped in with the O'Malley stuff. Like Armin specifically is cut from a different cloth because his family is rich and he chooses to fight. Yeah, that's something different too, especially that he has talent. You know, a lot of those guys don't want to get in there and continue to fight because they don't have to for the money, but that's actually for the love of the game, I guess. And for the sport. So yeah, it's a little different type thing, but you know, anyway, I hate myself a little bit for not going to that RAF 6 because you know, I could have easily gone. The tickets weren't like crazy outrageous expensive or anything, and there was a ton of fighters out there in the crowd, a ton of UFC fighters, and just the lineup. I just couldn't, you know, get it together and figure it out. There's just a lot going on in the background, and sometimes that stuff just kind of it just kind of takes up my headspace, and I just going through the motions sometimes and didn't even think about it. So, which is fine. I mean, I had a good weekend anyway. I went to that show with my wife on Thursday, which I enjoyed going with her. It's not really an act that I would normally go to, but I did it mostly for you know, to go with her and to you know, hang out with her and let her, you know, see something that she likes to see. She definitely sacrifices for me a lot of times with she likes watching fights and stuff too, but it's not like the thing she wants to see the most. So when it comes down to it, she definitely sacrifices for me and does things for me and I appreciate that. So I went with her and actually had a good time. You know, it wasn't bad at all, especially because I got to be with her and we hung out, we had dinner, we watched the show, we got some drinks, and had a good night. So, and then, yeah, the rest of the weekend was good as well. So, I watched Scream 7, which we did that because my daughter wanted to go see it, and she wanted us to go with her, so we did. Wasn't horrible, you know, it was a flashback to just watching Scream back in the day. Always corny, there's always dumb parts, but when it comes down to it, there's a lot of stars in the movie, and whatever, it is what it is. Would I have gone to see it on my own? Probably not, just because I don't go see a whole bunch of movies. But when it comes down to it, going and hanging out with them was cool, and I saw the movie and it was fine. It wasn't anything I absolutely hated, so it's all good. After Usyk beats Rico, he should box Francis with John Jones. Oh, box Francis then John Jones. Oh, okay. O'Malley should have a wrestling match at the next show. Chiefs Man loves that. A lot of fighters do the wrestling shows for the money, not for the love. Well, yeah. I mean, but Armin doesn't need that money. So, that's the difference that I was trying to make there, I guess. Couldn't even win a wrestling match against his wife. Oh my god. WBC said Usyk has to fight Cavell next or he gets stripped. I don't know that Usyk would really give a shit at this point, but who knows? Would you ever go see like LFA or CFFC if it came to Arizona? Yeah, I think I would. I do think I want to make a conscious effort to go to more shows that happen here in Arizona. Hey, thank you. All is good for jumping in. I appreciate you. I want to see Floyd box Roy Jones Jr. next. Oh, that would not be good. I don't think that would be good. But yeah, I would like to try to make it to more events. It's just they tend to always happen at a time that this year's just turning out to be yeah, it's an interesting year so far. I mean, if you haven't noticed in the news, crazy shit's going on. I usually try not to follow stuff because you know, it just gets me down, man. I don't want to be, and that sounds ignorant and all, but I do need to be in the know of what's happening, regardless of how much I hate hearing about the bullshit and all that. I do need to be in the know of what's going on around me and in this world. You can't be too ignorant to all of it and shut it all down. It's tough though. It's tough to some people let that overcome their mental, stability and everything, and people get anxious and frustrated, and political stuff gets involved, and in the end it's just scary to see so many things happening around the world that you never know just what's going to happen next, especially because we're involved as a country. Right, Tyler? That's what I'm saying. It's stupid. It's stupid. A lot of it's dumb, and I don't usually get into shit like this on here, so I'm not really gonna go deep into it. But I don't know that that's ever gonna be a thing, Antoine. There's always gonna be some kind of unrest in some areas because trying to coordinate everybody in this world all at once is just something that I don't think will ever happen. Hearing the news just adds onto the BS you already have to deal with. 100%, Juice Man. 100%. And is it true Arizona iced tea is the only iced tea people drink in Arizona?
Bruh.
Oh my gosh. No, but it is good. Arizona iced tea is very good, but definitely not. Were the mid 2000s peaceful? I know the 90s had a lot of riots. No, I mean, no, I don't recall it. I guess it was more peaceful than now, but there's always something, man. You got to think there's always something with the presidential stuff. With Obama, people were fucking nuts about that. Couldn't get him to shut the fuck up about it. It's just it's insane, man. There's always something going on, and that's why I try not to just wrap myself up in all that. I know people that just go on Facebook and obviously I'm old, and these people just go on Facebook and just take everything that they see and put it out there again and again and again, and it's like, why are we doing this, man? I don't know. I'm just different in that way, and for me it just, when you hear about personal things that affect you personally and stuff like that, that's enough to handle. But then you start thinking about what's happening around the world, and it's like, oh shit. So I try to find my ways out of it and keep up enough to be a little in the know, but also, not wrap myself up in it to where it keeps me up at night, because there's nothing I can do about it right now. There's nothing too many people individually can do about it, but everybody together can maybe do shit about it. But then, how do you get that working? The last time this country was united was the few days after the big event in in New York. And I'm not saying it specifically because with everything going on right now, I don't need any kind of weirdness coming around my channel. But there's just, there was some kind of shooting going on in Austin, Texas, of all places. And then all the bombings happening around overseas. So much crazy shit, man. And I know that a lot of people, yeah, I don't know. I don't even know how deep I want to go into this, but do you think criminals are really mentally ill, or some of these dudes are just, there's a little bit of both, Antoine. That's what I believe. I know a lot of people are mentally ill, but there's a lot of people that are just straight up evil. There can't be that many mentally ill people. There's mentally ill people that get taken advantage of by straight up evil people, and that's what I believe. So some people go looking for arguments. Yeah, COVID felt pretty uniting in my neighborhood. Yeah, but not around the world, man. There was just it was not uniting whatsoever. In your neighborhood, that's good, man. At least you got to feel that. But when you just you know, when I have close friends that are just like going nuts about stupid shit, I'm just like, ugh, God. It is what it is, though. Call your state senator and your representatives. They pick up the phones when their constituents call. What's up, Tua? You're gonna get hoaxers in here if you keep talking about the emergency number. Yeah, I know. That's why I just left that alone. Do you remember the day? I do, actually. I do. That shit was crazy too. That was the beginning of all of that really publicized shit that happened in schools. Again, I'm just being, I mean, usually don't care, you know, about stuff, but I'm trying to be a little more careful right now just because of what's happening. And that's another reason why you got to stay a little bit of you know, in the know of what's going on, because holy shit. Yeah, now you guys are going nuts. Do y'all remember when Gilbert Arenas dropped 60 on Kobe? Oh man. All right, before this goes off the rails, I just wanted to bring it up real fast. I knew there's a lot of reason why a lot of times I don't, you know, it's funny, don't get me wrong, you guys are funny, but a lot of times I don't bring up some of this stuff because I don't want to have to deal with the people that decide to be actually serious about the things that they're saying, and then it gets crazy. I just don't want, you know, this isn't the channel for that. We have enough arguments about MMA. So before I go too far, I do want to give a shout out to my sponsor, as usual, Noctane Smelling Salts. I know this is the least things that after something crazy that we were just talking about. But you know what? This keeps you awake and alert. And it is my sponsor, and I like this product. So I just want to give it a shout out. They sponsor me. Go to the front page of their website and scroll all the way to the bottom. It says proudly sponsoring Go Around's podcast. That's me here. So scan that QR code and go check out that website, or there's a link in the description below. Let me take a big whiff of this real quick and let's get going. I see all the mains going on, so here you go.
What's happening with you, man?
What's happening with you, man? Here we go. Oh, this is gonna be a. I just tried to refresh this too. This is gonna hit hard right now. Watch. These are getting a little bit older, so here we go. Oh, yep, there it is. It's becoming a thing for 2 times. It's when it has to happen, and it burns my eye. Woo! That's okay though. It's all worth it because that's what wakes me up. It gets me going, and as you can see, nice and wide-eyed now. Holy shit. Slam on that table like old seasoning condiments. Yeah, you can hear that shaking. It's still going. You add a little bit of water to this, and it kind of refreshes it a little bit, which I did that today. So hopefully that's going to be good and strong by Thursday's show. So thank you, Noctane, for the sponsorship. I appreciate you. And thank you guys for always listening to that. You know, I have to, you know, sidetrack real quick and get that going. But yeah, that's it for that. I guess yeah, some of the boxing news, you know, Manny Pacquiao versus y'all getting snow. Definitely. Oh, I thought that was Tua that said that. I'm like, what? Oh, that was him. No, what are we talking about? Juice the Snowman. I was just listening to some old school rap that reminded me too. I was like, what are we doing here? But yeah, Manny Pacquiao versus Floyd Mayweather. What the fuck is happening? That's happening in September at the Sphere. So second combat sports event to happen at the Sphere is going to be this boxing event on Netflix. And we'll see if it goes down. You know, September's a long ways away. It may not feel like it when we're in September. It'll be like, wasn't it just fucking February? But we're actually in March already. It is March 1st. I just realized that shit. Oh, man, the stuff Connor and John have is way stronger than that and coffee. 100%. Sphere, this is news to me. Oh, Juice, man. Yeah. They just released this. Mayweather versus Pacquiao at the Sphere, happening September 19th. Live on Netflix. So, yeah, that's crazy. And on top of that, supposedly the Mayweather and Mike Tyson fight is still happening in like April or some shit. April 25th. So I don't know if that's still going to go down or not, but I mean Mayweather's already booking fights for after the fight with Mike Tyson. So that's interesting stuff. I don't know really I don't really know how to feel about that. I know when I posted a TikTok about the Mayweather and Mike Tyson stuff, that was my highest viewed TikTok to date. It was insane how many people had negative shit to say. And I actually, my TikTok was kind of funny. It was just kind of go check it out on TikTok. It's pinned because it's my highest viewed TikTok. It was nuts. The craziest thing is that, oh yeah, so Floyd is putting his record on the line against Pacquiao, and that's probably because he already beat him once, and he thinks he might be able to beat him again at this point in time of his life, as well as Pacquiao's. The Mike Tyson fight is an exhibition, so Tyson's gonna be like 60 at that point. It's insane. Floyd needs money, probably. Just to live the lavish lifestyle. I doubt he needs money, but to sustain the lifestyle that he leads, he probably needs more money, and that's why. I just don't know if people want to watch old guys box, even if it's them too. Yeah, I don't know either, man. Next year, Floyd's going to box someone in their 60s and 70s. Bro, this year, he's going to be boxing Mike Tyson, who will be 60 by that time, I'm pretty sure. So, he's already there. You know, Floyd did all these exhibition fights over in Ryzen and stuff, and all kinds of other crazy off-the-wall places. It's just weird, man. It's just weird. I don't know why these guys just keep doing it. It must be the money. That so many times I just said, nah, no, it's not the money. But yeah, I mean, that's a good point too. Antoine Floyd can't get enough of the spotlight. He doesn't want to be forgotten, even though I think if he just left his career alone, he wouldn't have been forgotten. He's definitely known as one of the greatest defensive boxers. Talk about running or whatever, all you want, but it's true. He's known for certain things, and that's one of them. Not to mention his record and all that. But and I respect his skills, but when you go and do these crazy circus fight exhibition bullshits, you do too many of those, and it starts to wear on your legacy. And I feel like that's kind of where we're at with Floyd. No one really takes him seriously that much. Holy shit, Tua. Shoulder roll master, yeah, that's what I mean. He's known for stuff like that, and his defensive game is out of just crazy. And he adapted that from after getting hit certain times and not wanting to keep his brain on the line while doing a pugilistic sport, which is enough said on its own as ironic, but he adapted that style and he kept his record intact. So I guess it worked out for him, but and his longevity is showing now, even though he hasn't really been fighting top level fighters. He's been fighting people like Conor McGregor and Logan Paul and stuff like that. But Floyd versus 50, pugilism. But maybe it is just he's addicted to that spotlight. He's addicted to that lifestyle, and he wants to keep his money up. Maybe if he learned to, handle his money differently, because I have heard I've had her. Oh my God, I can't talk. I have heard a lot about how he's reckless with his money. So maybe if he learned to, do a little better, it might do him some good to not have as much money and live a little less of a lavish lifestyle. But Floyd gonna do an exhibition with a Muhammad Ali hologram. Holy shit. Oh man. Floyd versus Sugar Ray Leonard hologram would be nice. That's how far. Oh, come on, man. That's how far we've gotten. You know what I'm saying? It's like we're at that point now. It's insane. But that's just how you know where we are with Floyd and everything, because it's just too much sometimes. So, and then we heard about Usyk fighting Rico Verhoeven. That's crazy in itself as well. I mean, Verhoeven is a well-known kickboxer, but you know, when you don't have the kicks involved, how much is that gonna, you know, weigh on him to not be able to kick? I don't know specifically if Verhoeven's actually fought any professional boxing matches in the past, but he is a great striker, that's for sure, but his kicks are involved in that, and you know, that makes a world of difference sometimes with these guys. That's how they keep their distance from people, and that's how they measure things, is with their kicks. So in the end, it might be a detriment to him fighting someone as high level as Usyk, but if that's what he wants to do, then you know, he's definitely got a lot of skills. And but we've seen what happens to MMA fighters that go into boxing. I hate to say that, being an MMA guy myself, wanting the MMA guys to excel. We've seen what happens when the MMA guys go in to fight professional high-level boxers. It doesn't pan out well for them, or even just boxers in general. But I like these crossover fights, of course. They're not all bad. I mean, Verhoeven versus Usyk is, I mean, that's interesting as hell. So, yeah, we'll see. Rico needs somebody to beat him. Maybe so. But these are all interesting matchups, you know, that have come about, whether it's interesting in the fact of a circus interesting, or interesting in the fact of actual, real, legitimate matchups. Yeah, it's true too. I mean, yeah, when you're overly dominant in one sport, you might as well go try another. That's when I feel like it's a good time to cross over, is when you just can't seem to be beat. Like, that's why Floyd should go fight MMA now. Like, what are you doing? You're supposedly completely undefeated in any fight you've ever been in. Go fight in an MMA match and see how that goes down for you. Let's see if you're still dominant in there. But I think that's why he wouldn't do it, because Tyson Fury should box Justin Almeida. Oh my God. Oh man. Yeah, that's where we are. That's where we are. Shit. But yeah, that's just a bit of boxing news that I wanted to talk about for a minute, because of just how ridiculous it is. But I mean, it is interesting that Floyd versus Pacquiao is happening in at the Sphere. We'll see if that actually goes down, but that'll be interesting to see how they work that out, if they do it as well as the UFC did. But the UFC's event went on for far too long. I feel like just too much stuff in between. So we'll see how the boxing event goes down. Other than that, though, let's get to, did you cover the Shields beating? Oh no, I didn't even. No, because I mean, that was just domination by Clarissa Shields. Sure, there was what happened with the brawl with her and somebody else, or her team and somebody? I don't know, man. There was some kind of craziness happening with that too. I mean, I respect the women as well, but it was just like, it seemed like she was supposed to beat the shit out of that girl, and she did. So I mean, that's impressive and that's cool. But I wasn't really tracking on that one. So yeah, that I just saw I just saw some quick highlights, and then I saw something about a brawl after the fact or before I don't even fucking know. Every time I tried to find more about it, I just couldn't find it. So the GOAT fights on Sundays and still gets no views. It's tough, man. It's tough for the women out there. Brawl was at weigh-ins. Oh, okay. Yeah, see, I couldn't figure it out where the hell it happened or what happened. I wanted to see Clarissa Shields box. Yes, I would love to see Clarissa Shields box Juliana Pena and fucking punch her mouth in so much that she can't talk anymore for a little while. That'll get Pena to shut the fuck up for once in her goddamn life. She got to hop on a diet and fight some real competition. She is getting a little comfortable. Clarissa versus Cyborg boxing. I mean, they've sparred in the past, and Clarissa does her thing. I don't know that Cyborg could really hang. I could see Dana signing Clarissa to Zuffa boxing. I could too, actually. I don't like Pena. Katie Taylor, lucky she didn't have to box Ronda. Oh shit. All right, so let's get into let's get into the stuff I did prep for, and let's start with this, and that is Poatan Alex Pereira vacated his title in the light heavyweight division, seemingly going to the heavyweight division, because of course we saw him go from middleweight to light heavyweight, so there's no way he's going to go back down, at least not right now. And he will be more than likely he's going to be chasing that belt, obviously, because that's what he's done in the past. So he'll be the first UFC fighter to chase a third belt and, you know, possibly win that shit, which is nuts. I think it's definitely a possibility, especially with the state of the UFC heavyweight division right now. You know, of course, there's that talk of Gable Steveson coming over to the UFC, but you know, he got hit a little bit in that last fight, and while it does show that he has a chin because he got kicked in the head and didn't go down, I do think that it did show a little bit of his vulnerability to catching strikes like that. But that's why he's fighting those kind of fights that he's finishing all in the first round. Let him keep doing that until he gets soon we're gonna have someone become a quadruple champion. Hey, listen, the things evolve, man. Things evolve. There's only so much you can do, so people will chase as much as they can to get to a point where it's something that no one else has done. So that's what Poatan's looking to do right now. Pereira's looking to become the first 3-division world champion, and he's got a great chance of doing it. So it's not a bad idea, especially like I said right now with the state of the heavyweight division in the UFC. John Jones is unclear as to what's happening with him. He doesn't seem to want to fight anybody unless it's for the White House at the moment, is what he's saying. And I don't think we're going to see that, according to what Dana said in the past, but anything could happen at this point. We're supposed to be getting those those White House matchups here announced this week coming up, so be on the lookout for that, because that's what Dana said. Now he also said he had a crazy announcement for coming up the other day, and it took him until real late at night before he went live on Instagram and basically was like, is this thing on? All right, so just so you guys know, Alex Pereira vacated his title. I don't even think he said it at first. He just said, oh, we're making Yuri Prohaska versus Carlos Oberg for the undisputed light heavyweight title. Oh yeah, because Alex Pereira vacated. In case you guys were wondering. that's how he went on, and it was like, no doubt, Johnny, that's exactly my point. He says what he needs to say to get people off his back. So I mean, I at this point, I don't dislike what Pereira's doing. I feel like I hate the jumping around of weight classes, but I feel like he actually does belong at light heavyweight or heavyweight. I feel like he can make that weight easily, and not be too small for the division, especially with the way the heavyweights are right now. He's got the skills to hang with the heavyweights, and he's got the power, and I think it'll translate over. We've seen it, you know, be okay for him in the light heavyweight division. So like, we can't ignore 3 different belts. There's so much to unpack here. If Alex wins the 3rd title, does it make him top 3 martial artists in history? Well, it definitely cements him at the top of all kinds of lists. I definitely think that if he does this, there's no doubt that he is one of the best to ever do it. And whatever categories you want to put him in at that point is valid. I mean, he's already right now cemented himself as a great fighter in the UFC and in the history books for sure, with the stuff that he's done already. God don't stand a chance against the Tracy Dominator. Yeah, so that's gonna be what we're looking at getting, more than likely. Those are the rumors, is Pereira versus Cyril Gane for the for the heavyweight title, or the interim heavyweight title. What the fuck is it even gonna be? I don't know. Maybe just for the #1 contender spot, because no one still knows what the hell's happening with Tom Aspinall. I mean, we're at the point now that you know, who knows if he even's going to come back with the issues he's still having with his eyes. Haven't heard any updates recently, but the last thing we heard was about the second round of surgery that he had, and still not being able to hit pads or anything like that. So it's tough to know what's going to happen with Aspinall. So say they force Aspinall to vacate the title and they strip him. Oh, there you go. Strip Tom, Tyler said. Holy shit. You know, it would, I don't know. I mean, I want to say that I wouldn't be surprised if they strip him, or force him to vacate, because maybe they'll say we're not gonna, you know, call it a stripping. We're gonna say, hey, listen, you're gonna vacate and you're gonna come back as soon as you're better, because we don't know what the status is gonna be. So, you know, maybe they give him that grace and they allow him to vacate instead of stripping him, and then they make Pereira versus Gon for the undisputed. And that's fine, as long as they give Tom the title fight as soon as he's ready. That's what I think. And, you know, unless John Jones is going to come in and fight against whoever wins between Gon and Pereira, then he's just going to have to wait, because he's making everyone else wait. So let's just make his ass wait too. And let's do this the right way and let the heavyweight division start building back up here a little bit, at least. You know, obviously we don't have a lot of high level talent in the heavyweight division right now, but this could definitely shake things up and make things a little interesting, even though there's not a lot of depth there. We got Josh Hoggett fighting Curtis Blades, so he's jumping up the ladder quickly. Curtis Blades is a tough opponent that has a lot of experience, but he folds a lot. And when it comes down to it, he's beatable. And Josh Hoggett has shown, as much as I don't like his antics and some of the stupid shit he says, he's shown some promise in the few fights he's had. So with the heavyweight division in the state that it's in, it only makes sense to put somebody like that fighting a higher level guy to see how quickly they can run him up that ladder. Juice, man. Always on the O'Malley stuff. How much does Pereira weigh on fight day? I know he was weighing like 225 when he was fighting at 185. Like, he would make weight for that time, and then he would jump up to as high as 225, which is crazy at middleweight. He's definitely around there, if not more, when he's fighting at 205. So yeah, 220 is probably about right for normal for him. Do you think he would really defend the belt like 3 or 4 years? I don't know with Pereira what he would do, because where else can he go except for dropping back down to light heavyweight? If they allow for double champ status again, maybe he goes back down and he tries to win the light heavyweight back and then defends both. But at least in every, you know, at least he's at least had a fight to try to defend in every weight class he's been in, if not defend. So I'll give him that, and that's why I don't hold the same, you know, and that's why I don't hold the same just disgusting demeanor towards him moving up like some of these other guys that I'm just like, come on, fucking defend your belt before you go anywhere. At least once. Holy shit. I don't know why you would try to go without even defending once. And even Dana's, you know, not that we put a lot into what he says, but even Dana kind of showed that that's what he wants from people, is to defend before they try to go up. Like, fuck. So yeah, I don't know what he would do. I think he would definitely be a possibility to defend. Nobody defends the belt for 3 or 4 years though, so that's kind of out of the realm of possibilities anyway. Let's talk about defending for a year to 2 years first, and then we could talk about extending past that. Alexander can go to boxing to fight Usyk. That would be interesting. Pereira triple champ. He's gonna sleep Aspinall in one. I don't know that he's gonna fight Aspinall just yet, but I mean, when he does, it is a good possibility, especially if Aspinall doesn't come back like he was before. Yeah, Pantoja definitely held it down while he was there, and you know, we'll see what happens with him when he comes back. I had some fuzz or something on. Oh, there's a freaking gnat in here. Damn it, that's what it was. So anyway, yeah, that's what's happening there. And along with this, you know, like I said, we had Dana White and announcing that Prohaska versus Alberg will be your undisputed light heavyweight championship bout coming up at UFC 327, April 12th. I don't know, April 11th. Actually, this must have been a one of those overseas posters, because I tend to get those a lot, and I don't know why. They mix in and they look exactly like the other ones, except it has the wrong date, and I hate that because I usually catch it, but I know I found two different ones on this, and I must have put the wrong one in, which is whatever. We know it's always going to be on a Saturday, except for the White House card is actually going to be on a Sunday, so that's interesting. But that's because they wanted to make it on Trump's birthday, I guess, or some shit like that. I don't know. But we do have that match already confirmed. So Prohaska versus Olberg, number 2 versus number 3, fighting it out for the undisputed light heavyweight championship there. And yeah, we had those other announcements that came about. Like I said, Curtis Blades versus Josh Hokett is happening. Let me bring this up real quick, because I know I had him in here and I forgot to put him in. But it looks like the main card will be Joshua Van versus Tatsuro Taira for the co-main event of UFC 327. Curtis Blades versus Josh Hokett will be third on the card. Beneil Dariush versus Manuel Torres. Holy shit. Dariush might have to retire after that one, because Torres is gonna run through him. I feel like they really made 326 shit, so 327. Well, yeah, and it's because of the, you know, what they have to do for the, what they have to do to be able to have people available for that White House card too. So, you know, I think that's why we got 326 in the state that it's in. Dominic Reyes versus Johnny Walker is your other fight on that main card for UFC 327. And then in the prelims, we also have some decent fights. Mirzakhanov versus Paulo Costa. Patricio Pitbull versus Aaron Pico. I saw somebody say something like they really had to make a Bellator versus Bellator fight to give these guys good competition against each other. I was all, holy shit, man, that's fucking rough, but kind of valid. But Pitbull versus Pico finally coming back after that nasty spinning back elbow knockout that he suffered against Lerone Murphy. And then we have Mateusz Gamrot versus Esteban Ribovics, which is going to be an insane fight. Cub Swanson versus Nate the Train Landwehr. Kevin Holland versus Randy Brown. That's going to be a sick fight, I think. Kelvin Gastelum versus Vicente Luque. Should be a good one. And then Tatiana Suarez versus Lupe Godinez. And Christopher Alvarez versus Francisco Prado. So yeah, that's a pretty stacked card for UFC 327. I feel like not too bad. And yeah, that's some good fights to look forward to in April. And it is April 11th, by the way. It definitely is stacked, Tyler. It's, yeah, I'm sad that I forgot to actually put the damn visuals up here, but I just read it all off to you, so it is what it is. You got your headlining fight right here, even though it says the wrong damn date. But Tatiana's wrestling going to be too much for Lupe, more than likely. What is Curtis doing when the immortal Hokett runs wild? When Yuri retires, it's actually gonna suck. Yeah, Yuri's an interesting dude. You think Paulo Costa just, he's too unpredictable, man. You just don't know what you're gonna get with that dude. So it's a toss-up with everything with him. Can't wait until Mackenzie defeats Jang. Yeah, let's see, man. Weili still got it a little bit in her, so it's gonna be a tough fight for Dern, just because Zhang's gonna be coming back. But light heavyweight Mount Rushmore, well, obviously Chuck Liddell 100%. We definitely got to put John Jones there regardless of anything. Those are two givens. Fuck, who else? I have to really think about it to get the rest of that one, just to make sure I would put people on there that would actually be worth putting on there. I mean, I don't like Tito Ortiz, but he did defend quite a bit. If you think about newer guys, I mean, I think Pereira would definitely have to go there. Oh, that Tyler just said it. Yeah, he would definitely have to go on there. He wasn't in there for a long time. Yeah, I said Jones, John Jones, Chuck Liddell, and Alex Pereira. And then I'd have to think about the other one, man. I can't just go off the top of my head on that one because there's a lot to think about. There's a lot of light heavyweights, but those three stand out for me for sure. Because Chuck Liddell was just a superstar, a badass, and he's one of the reasons why I continued to be so interested in. Shogun was good, but I think Shogun was better outside of the UFC, so I don't think I can give it to Shogun. Rashad had some great wins, but I don't know that I could give it to Rashad. Randy Couture, sure, but I think Randy Couture is more of a overall guy because he jumped between light heavy and heavy. And I think that oh shit, Tyler, that's a good point. DC is a good one. Yeah, DC is a good one. That might have to be it. Frank Shamrock was good, but I didn't like him that much, and I feel like what everyone has done past him kind of surpasses him as one of them. But I do think Frank Shamrock was great for sure, and Randy Couture as well. Randy Couture is an overall great, so you gotta I give him that. But whether or not he belongs on my light heavyweight Mount Rushmore, I'm not sure, and that's why it's so subjective that it's tough to make a choice. And that's what always gets me on these, and that's why sometimes I don't like answering them, because I'll go back and forth on it for an hour, and it's just not fun. Not fun for me, at least. How would you watch pay-per-views back then? Were you going to bars in the early? No, man, I was very rarely did I go anywhere. I was having very big so early 2000s. No, I was having very big watch parties at my house. I would pay for the fights, and I was lucky enough to be able to afford them. So I was paying for fights, and I was having 10 to 20, 25 people at my house, and we were going nuts. I was in my 20s. I was drinking a bunch and having a good time. And we were having parties. I had parties for a good 12 to 15 years straight at my house, which was nuts. I went through a lot of friend groups and people that came over. It was a staple in our anybody that we knew that we had UFC fights at the house all the time, and it was always a big party. So I got some photos with Ken Shamrock Stone. It's fine. Randy should have went after the middleweight and welterweight while he was fighting. I don't know that he could have done that, but or flipped the cable box. Yeah. Guy's a cool dude IRL. Oh, well, that's good to know. I know, I mean, he doesn't seem that cool, but that's good. That's good to know. Do we all agree Prates is going to catch a body against JDM? I forgot about that one, man, because that eliminates the thought of Prates versus McGregor at the White House, because so many people were just convinced that that's what was happening. It was damn near confirmed by everybody for some reason, and I was just like, I don't know, I don't see that happening. I was right. Prates fighting JDM, and I think Prates could probably get the best of JDM. So yeah, pay-per-views on DirecTV was like $34. Yeah, I mean, back in the day they weren't that as expensive. Early 2000s. Hey, now you're an all-star. I think Jack can win that. Oh shit, Antoine. Okay. I mean, I could see why it's a possibility, but I don't know. I think Prates he's on a streak right now where when he's hot, and JDM is not that flashy fighter, and while he's tough and gritty, I just don't know that he can. I don't know that he'll be able to hang yeah, I just don't know. I feel like Prates is just saying Carlos Prates is boycotting the White House card. Okay. Plus it's 5 rounds. Did they show the fights at sports bars back then, like whole 3 hour? Yeah, they did. They definitely did. Prates beats JDM. I think we get Usman versus Morales in a 5 round. I mean, that would be interesting for sure. Hanging in there. Oh, good matchup though. Okay, sorry, I got caught up in I'm reading all the chats, just trying to catch up. But anyway, so there we go. We got that out of the way. Now let's talk about some Real American Freestyle Wrestling, the 6th event that they had. Pretty decent card here. Henry Cejudo versus Uriah Faber, but of course all of the action happened when Armin Tsarukyan took on Giorgio Puelas, I think that's how you say his name. And yeah, that's because I mean, Armin got the win, right? But he I guess the Giorgio dude was just doing some dumb shit and pissing off the UFC fighter, and Armin's not the type of dude to mess around like that. So Usman getting undeserved title shot. Oh, Buchanan versus, yeah, okay, yeah, I wish I would have watched all of this, but you know, you gotta have Fox Nation or whatever, and I already have enough subscriptions. I just watched the, you know, they put up all the highlights and shit pretty quickly anyway, so it is what it is. I do wish I would have went to the event though, because I thought about it. I actually even talked to Infinity about it for a second, but you know, it just snuck up on me. I didn't even just try that hard to do it, so it sucks that I didn't, and I would have loved to have been there. But you know, you had Cejudo versus Faber. I don't even know who won that fight, because all of the fuss was about you know, what happened with Sarukian. That conversation seemed like yesterday. That's what I'm saying. Oh, Cejudo won. Okay, yeah, I was just bringing it up right now. But yeah, this year is already going by super fast, and it's kind of stupid. Okay, here we go. I knew I had a picture somewhere. I should have put this one up too. Cejudo won. All right. So yeah, then we had Sarukian versus Giorgio Puelas, and Sarukian got that one by decision. Henry Cejudo teched Uriah Faber. David Carr teched Bubba Jenkins, who Bubba Jenkins is always a big shit talker, and he used to, you know, talk all kinds and talk about how he was the best. But I don't know if he fell off a little bit or what, unless David Carr is that good. I just don't follow this very much, but I do know who Bubba Jenkins is. He was on a podcast a while back for a long time that I was listening to. So Alvarez versus Meredith. Alvarez teched Meredith on that one. And then Macharashvili defeated Buchanan by decision. Lucia Guzman defeated Lidecker by decision. Who else? Damn, some of these names are tough. There was another. Oh yeah, Sterling. Aljamain Sterling pinned Benson Henderson, because Benson Henderson was actually supposed to be fighting Chad Mendes, right? And Chad Mendes like dropped out. Was it Chad Mendes or Michael Chandler? No, it was Chad Mendes. But then Sterling stepped in and beat Benson Henderson. So yeah, and then Jordan Oliver decision Bartlett, and Clay Guida lost to Mugsy by tech and tech fall. But Mugsy was I guess just kind of starstruck over Guida, saying he used to watch him back in the day when he was younger. That was a cool little moment I saw highlights of. But anyway, that's how that went. But we know Sarukian versus Puelas was the crazy shit that happened. And here's the punch that he threw at the very end, landing a punch on Puelas right there. And as you see, everybody rushing the mat. And then we had just an all-out fucking brawl. All the Armenians came out there, started, according to Puelas, said he got jumped by all the Armenians, and only his brother and his 68-year-old father came to his defense. And, you know, it looks like they're holding him back there. So, yeah, I don't know exactly everything that went down. It was just chaos. So, yeah, that's what happened there. And then, he, like I said, he was in an ambulance with a neck brace and shit, as you can see in this lower picture on the top left of the lower picture. It just went nuts. And as you can see, the ref there trying to break him up when that first started, all the people on the mats. It's just, and then Sean O'Malley just kind of looking like, what the fuck is happening? But him and Marab were on the sidelines, and we're just kind of, you know, holding their phones up and watching the chaos go down. But interesting stuff there. We'll see what happens if there's any kind of it was like a roving group hug. I saw some punches getting thrown in there. Whether they landed or not, I don't know. But all the highlights I saw, there was a lot of fist flying. So you know, it's never a brawl is necessarily a fucking all-out fight you know, a brawl like in baseball, brawling is just like a big group of people and a few punches getting thrown. That's the kind of brawl I'm talking about. That's kind of what I saw from all the highlights and stuff that happened. Yeah, Marab was there too. There was a lot of people in that crowd, man. That's kind of why I wish I would have gone. I failed on that one. I should have gone. That was dumb. But Brody Glenn, welcome in. Slight MMA. I'm not sure what you're saying by that, but welcome in. Appreciate you for jumping in. Yeah, so we're just talking about this RAF stuff and what happened here. Craziness. What's your favorite fight in baseball? I don't know that I really know all the fights off the top of my head. I always talk about that Nolan Ryan one where he punched Robin Ventura in the face. So yeah, it's one of those things where that's one that I always remember, but there's a few other ones in there too. I just haven't really thought about it in a long time. Might have got some interviews from being there. Well, that's the thing though, is, you know, do I want to put myself in that position? A lot of times you have to have like media credentials to be able to do a lot of stuff there. Sure, I could have, you know, talked to people or whatnot, but I'm not so sure how much I want to be the guy walking up and only getting a second with somebody and asking for that interview right then, because I'm sure they get that a lot. But if the situation presented itself correctly, from people in the crowd. Oh, well. Yeah. I don't know. I'm not the man on the street, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna go again, I think it's a different thing. People get crazy when you have a camera out and a mic, and I would just have to really pay attention to that. I did look into requesting them to it sounded like they didn't want to grant any media credentials to anybody but official media personnel. And while I am affiliated with Combat Sports Today, who do get credentialed for certain events, I didn't really ask them to see if I could get any kind of a hookup with that. And like I said, I did have some plans to at least go to the event, if not try to do more. But the problem is it snuck up on me, too many things going on, and I just didn't have the time, and I didn't purchase the tickets and all of that. So it's on me, but I am but I am going to, you know, I don't know, we'll see if the opportunity presents itself again in the future. We'll see how that goes, and if I can, you know, work myself into one of those situations. I think it would be cool, but who knows whether I do it for myself, or if I do the interviews and I do them through Combat Sports Today, that's fine too, because it can all wind up on my channel regardless. So speaking of, be on the lookout for that interview that I did last week with Reese McLaren, looking to get out there and get into another organization and fight for a title, hopefully sometime in the near future. It's just a matter of, you know, when and where, and he seems like he's very motivated too. So it's a pretty good interview, and he's a cool dude. So you can go check that out on Combat Sports Today right now. It's out already, and I will release it here on this channel sometime in the near future. So while I'm saying that, I'll remind you to please like this video while you're here, and if you haven't subscribed already, please do that as well. And hit that notification bell so you know when I release any kind of content, because when I do interviews, they're pre-recorded, obviously. I don't do them live. That's how Combat Sports Today does them, and then they allow me to put them on my channel as well. So I like working with those guys, and I always let it live on their channel for a little bit, you know, and then I will put it on here. So be on the lookout for that sometime in the near future. I feel like they go to Arizona a lot, so you're good. Yeah, true. So that, I mean, that could definitely be something that happens in the future. But with all that being said, let's move on to UFC Mexico City, the event that happened last night. Brandon Moreno versus Lonnie Kavanaugh. I kept saying Loner, and that's because that's what everybody was saying before. I mean, I missed the Lonnie bus, I guess. I didn't realize that they had switched it up or whatever, but it's weird with these guys' names, you know. So people will call someone's regular name by something completely incorrectly, but I do hate when people do that, especially when it's been outright, you know, clarified. And that's my bad, so that's okay. But Lonnie, I heard people saying Loney too, but that's the thing. That's the thing. It's just one of those, you never know how they want to say it, and I try to go with what they say, unless it's too hard to say that way. But we could just say Kavanaugh to forget about all of it in the end. But yeah, not a bad main event. I think there were some really good fights throughout the card overall, and you know, it does suck to see Moreno lose that way, especially when, you know, he could just show and prove that he still has it by beating somebody like Kavanaugh, who's younger, has a decent record, and has a lot of skill. And to lose to an up and coming guy like that on late notice, by the way, too, because he was supposed to fight Asu Almobayev. But yeah, man, Moreno just, you know, there's always a chance for resurgence, but I don't even think that he's that old at this point, to be honest with you. He just is old in fight years because he's been in a lot of wars and he's been around for a while. But as far as his actual age, let me look real fast because I always have to double check. He's only 32, so technically he should be in his prime now, but maybe his prime just happened a little earlier than usual. And yeah, I don't want to give up on Moreno just yet, but I do feel like this is his second loss in a row. Before that, he had 2 wins in a row, and then 2 losses in a row, 2 wins in a row. That's kind of how it's gone for him since like 2022. That's a beat looking 32. I mean, he looks like a little kid, kinda, because he's so small and he looks so goofy with glasses on that he normally wears. But yeah, I mean, I guess technically he looks a little older than 32, but man, he's been in a lot of wars, and you can see he wears all the damage on his face. As soon as he gets touched, he's bleeding, and there's damage. So since 2022, he's kind of gone on this win to lose to streak. So if that's the way it works for him, he should work for Lego next. Yeah, he is a crazy Lego head, man. He is obsessed with Legos for sure. So that could be a thing for him in the future. But if his streak continues, he can get a couple wins coming up and put himself right back in there for you know, being at the lowest level of contention, just because of being a former champ and all that. It's crazy that Moreno was a title contender 2 fights ago. Exactly. That, I mean, well, there you go. You're just saying that because yeah. Anyway, Big Lone is the truth. Yeah, I mean, Lonnie just fucking showed what he had, and it was impressive. So we'll definitely get to that fight. But you know, just talking about Moreno for a second, because Tyler said he's ass now. It's like, I get why you say that. I'm not ready to give up on Moreno just yet. I like the guy, and I feel like a couple wins in a row, as he's done in the past, puts him back into taking a look at a run. You know what I mean? And who knows? There's a lot of guys that have gone down the path that he's on right now and have made a comeback and at least challenged for a title again. So I won't give up on Assassin Baby. He should move up. He might have success. I mean, he could. I do feel like he's a smaller guy for the division already, so moving up is going to be tough for him, but he might actually have some success up there, that's for sure. But yeah, that's something that he could entertain in the future, I guess. We'll have to wait and see what he wants to do next. But as far as this fight, he did lose, and we will get to breaking that down here in just a bit. I do want to make sure I start at the bottom. I do want to start at the bottom with the prelims, of course, as I usually do, because I like to cover all of the fights. And we'll start with Damian Piñas versus Wes Schultz. And holy shit, was Piñas just on top of his game in this one. We had we have he got a I lost track because of what Tua just said. That's just fucking funny. Oh man. All right. So Peña's got the win 2 minutes and 30 seconds into the first round. And yeah, I mean, it was just an impressive win for him. You know, he was able to get an early stoppage. 41 seconds. Wait a minute, that wasn't 41 seconds. What am I talking about? I lost. What the hell happened to my page here? Come on, man. There we go. I'm reading the wrong shit because I'm on the wrong note. Okay. Anyway. Find Damian more formidable opponent. Yeah. Peña's basically, I mean, his boxing looked clean, man. He was landing shots and landing big shots, and obviously it ended quickly for him. He was able to get the finish, and Schultz, he tried to slow things down, you know, getting into the clinch and stuff like that, but Peña's was just too composed, too accurate, and landed the power shots that was needed to be able to, you know, force that TKO and get an early finish with the first fight of the night on the prelims for UFC Mexico City. And we followed it up with a second finish in a row on the prelims. Andre Pederneiras might have another star in Damian. Yeah, man, he looked pretty damn good. So if he keeps up with that, he's definitely got some potential to, you know, move up in the division pretty quickly. But moving on to the second fight of the night, we had Francis Marshall versus Eric Silva, and we got a second finish in a row, this time by submission, as Francis Marshall gets the rear naked choke on Eric Silva 1 second earlier than Peña's got the win over Schultz in 2 minutes and 29 seconds. Marshall obviously had the grappling advantage here. He didn't get too crazy with things. He didn't get too fancy. He just ran through the motions and stayed in the dominant positions. And, you know, Silva he had a couple moments on the feet, but Marshall was able to just get the fight down to the ground and shifted things quickly to allow him to get that rear naked choke. And, you know, he was a little patient here and there and was able to, you know, advance positions and then secure the submission to get the finish. Fight IQ and control, instead of, you know, being chaotic and losing focus, he was able to just, you know, sit there, do what he knows how to do best, and make it interesting on top of getting the win. So he should use that soundbite for his walkout. Fire Marshal Trill. Yeah, so two fights in, and we had two finishes. I was hoping it would continue that way, but we got a hell of a fight for the third fight, getting into the women. The women's division with what am I doing? With Regina Tarin is how they kept saying it, which is obviously the right way to say that, but I mean, I'm not gonna fake like I know Spanish, like I know Spanish fluently. But then we had Ernesta Caracate, I think is how you say her name. But this fight, man, back and forth battle. Both these girls were landing big shots on each other, and they busted each other up. As you can see, Tahin's face in that second picture is pretty swollen. She kind of has the chipmunk cheek effect already, but holy shit, she got touched up, man, and she got busted up too. As you can see, she's bleeding from the mouth and the nose in both those pictures. It was definitely an exciting fight too. I'm a fan of these girls too as well. I mean, like Tahin was, I mean, dude, she doesn't look like the hardest fighter, but she put some hands on Ernesta and was able to get, you know, the win by unanimous decision. I mean, it was gritty, it was back and forth. Caracate had success with pressure and the clinch exchanges, but I mean, Tahin's striking just seemed to be better and more composed. She was fighting well in the pocket. It was a close fight overall, but I mean, like I said, Tahin overall, she was versatile and she was powerful and she was durable as well, to be able to take some of the punches that she took and stand in there in the pocket and continue to exchange and land punches. Uma Thurman was happy with the win. Oh yeah, because her nickname is Kill Bill. Yeah, it was an exciting fight, man, and it was as exciting as her nickname is. You know, if you know about the movie, she definitely did what it took to make it exciting, and it was a good back and forth fight, which we don't get to see out of. She's playing into the cute girl role too hard. She ain't that good looking. In the cage, I can understand that. Outside of the cage, man, she does have some looks, but I understand what you're saying, Tyler. I understand what you're saying a little bit, but it seems like the girls that look good as well as fight good tend to get the most attention, and I don't blame her for playing it up. But you know, because in the women's divisions at these times, when no one seems to be interested in the women's divisions, you gotta take what you can get when it comes to all of that. So yeah, she's definitely a looker, and she's not opposed to posting, you know, some thirst traps on Instagram either. But Kill Bill 1 or Kill Bill 2 is a good question. Poor man's Juliana Miller. Oh my god. I think Juliana Miller is the one. She has such an awkward body, bro, but she has an OnlyFans too, so you can find out exactly how awkward that body is if you really want to. Oh man, she's I'll take the carrot cake over the flan. Oh shit. All right, Tyler. Oh my god, let's move on. We got Douglas Silva de Andrade versus Javier Reyes. Flan all day. Oh my god, you guys are fucking hilarious. Holy shit. We got Silva de Andrade versus Javier Reyes. This was a back and forth fight as well, because de Andrade was able to like kind of take control of the fight. Was able to take control of the fight in the beginning, and I think he had Reyes kind of wobbled at one point in time too, but Reyes stayed calm, and he was able to start working his counters. He got some sharp heavy shots in with on some of those counters, and was able to flip the script on the veteran de Andrade. The first round changed everything, leading to the second round stoppage when he, you know, landed a good sequence of punches to end up that first round, and then to get him to the end of that first round, and then he got the stoppage, and had one of the best fights in the prelims too. I mean, there was a lot of those first fights were just great. Whose idea was to make? I will say, I do like carrot cake, but in the fashion you're talking, might be different. I might agree with that one still, but I do like in the literal carrot cake. I do like carrot cake. I might be weird. I don't know. Oh man. But yeah, so this was, I mean, like I said, the first four fights of the prelims were just damn good. Then we get to Christian Quinones versus Chris Moutinho, and Quinones was able to get the unanimous decision win over Moutinho. I wouldn't say this one was as good as the rest of them, but it still wasn't a bad fight. Quinones pretty much controlled that range, as you can see in both of these pictures. He never let Moutinho get too comfortable. He never let him really get inside. Moutinho, of course, is tough as hell and durable. We've seen him take lots of shots, except for that one against Malcolm Wellmaker that knocked him out. But as you can see in this fight, he's back to being durable, having a good chin. But you know, he takes too many shots. That's all there is to it. He walks forward and he doesn't have a lot of head movement. Quinones was just disciplined, and he threw a lot of volume, so it was able to get him a clear decision victory. And yeah, he gets that unanimous decision win over Chris Moutinho. So that brings us back to the women with Aylin Perez versus Macy Chiasson. And holy shit, did Perez look good in this one. She got the unanimous decision. But, you know, Shazan usually puts up a damn good fight, but Perez pushed the pace a lot. She stayed busier across all 3 rounds. And, you know, while Shazan had moments in the clinch like she does usually, Perez's striking and control just stood out amongst all of it. And as you can see here, you know, even getting on top on the ground, landing some strikes down there, her kicks, her punches, she mixed everything up pretty well, and still got to twerk at the end of the fight because she got the win. The twerk queen going to dance on the belt when she wins in next year. Oh damn, Johnny's a big fan of Aylin Perez, huh? I want to see Aylin versus Tracy in the street fight. Oh, dude, that would be nasty, honestly. But I'll take a fight with them in the cage, and that's who Aylin Perez called out after she got the win. She called out Tracy Cortez. That would be an interesting one. Aylin Perez is another one that has an OF page, by the way, in case you were wondering and interested. They're not quiet with it. So that's why I always mention it, because I'm like, hey, if they put it out there like that, I'm just gonna mention it to whoever might be interested. She definitely does, Antoine. She definitely does. And I'm not saying that I go subscribe to all these OnlyFans pages, but there's other ways to know. You come across things sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you come across things and you just don't expect it, and it's like, who? Holy shit. And you know, at the bottom right hand corner of all those videos, you see that it starts off with OF / their name. So that's how you know they have a page. Yeah, I'm gonna get off that subject. Anyway, Aylin Perez getting a big win over Macy Shazan in the women's bantamweight division, and that puts her on a, what is that, 6-fight win streak now? 6-fight win streak. She's got wins over Carol Hosa, Macy Shazan now, Jocelyn Edwards, Lucy Pudilova, Ashley Evans Smith. I mean, yeah, she's got some good wins in there. So 6-fight win streak, getting somebody like Tracy Cortez, a big name, popular fighter, that would probably be a good one for her and a good next step. And I could see Tracy giving her a good fight. So we'll see what happens there if that comes up next. So let's get to the last fight in the prelims. As I'm dropping stuff. All right, so we got Ryan Gondra versus Jose Medina. I wasn't expecting a whole lot out of this one. She should fight either Juliana or Raquel. I mean, those could be good fights too, but I think that those are good fights after Tracy. I think Tracy's a good fight for her right now, especially because she called her out, and you know, Tracy doesn't seem to have an opponent at the moment. So, but I mean, even if they did make those fights, those would be good. I think she's ready for that. But moving on to Ryan Gondra versus Jose Medina, we get another finish finally, even though the rest of the fights were pretty good. They not in the same division. Who are you talking about? Who you mentioned, or Tracy? Why did she call her out then? Does she know something we don't know? Maybe. Who knows? Hold on, I just lost my page. There it is. Okay. Yeah, so Gondra versus Medina, we get another first round finish. Actually, they had a run in last year backstage. Oh, you're right. That's what it is. So she's just looking to fight her ass regardless. I forgot all about that. She's just looking to fight her no matter what. But yeah, because I don't see Aylin being able to go down in weight. I don't think that could happen. So then Tracy would have to move up in weight, but Tracy's kind of small. So yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that. I was just like, oh shit, Tracy in a fight. Yeah, fuck. That's a good point. So I mean, I think she's ready for the higher levels regardless. So I think your suggestions of Juliana versus Raquel, or Juliana or Raquel, those would be good fights for her. I think she would pretty much beat Raquel easily. But Juliana would be tougher for her. So that might be the way to go. But her versus Tracy at some point in time, shit. He had 6 months. Oh, got you. Yeah, so Gondra versus Medina. I mean, shit, this was a quick one. 41 seconds in, Gondra just came out swinging and landed. So I mean, there was nothing more to it. He overwhelmed Medina with speed and power, landed the big shots, and kept it at a quick 41-second TKO. And man, it's just that was his UFC debut as well. That's a hell of a debut for a guy coming off the Contender Series who won in the first round there as well. 2 minutes and 51 seconds in, he got the TKO there, and comes into the UFC against a guy that's been here for a minute and gets a quicker win as his UFC debut. So that puts Medina down to 4 losses in a row, and 5 including his Contender Series loss. So, you know, 4 losses in a row, that's tough. He got finished in all but one of those fights. His first fight against Zach Reese was a decision loss. And now he's lost 3 in a row, all by finish. This one being the fastest, all in the first round as well. So he can't even get a fight started, and it's tough, man. It's tough for Medina, but it is what it is. You know, yeah, he got the chance from Dana, like Antoine was saying, but you know, when it comes down to it, if you can't even get out of the first round with guys that are in their, you know, debuting, it's tough to keep you around, man. So I don't know, he's gonna get much more of a chance. So moving on to the main card, we've got Santiago Luna versus Angel Pacheco, and we had a pretty decent fight in this one to start off the main card. Let me find my, there we go. And Santiago Luna is able to get the unanimous decision. Medina should have been cut 2 fights ago. Yeah, I mean, I think at least 1 fight ago. After 3 losses, I can't believe they kept him around, but you know, it is what it is. Luna gets the win and continues to be undefeated. You know, unfortunately, no finish in this one, but when it came down to it, Luna, you know, he came out strong. Had a really good crisp jab and put some heavy combinations together and kept Pacheco uncomfortable. But you know, I guess he kept the pressure on. I mean, he, as you can see in that top picture, his knees were working, and he got a couple early takedowns. Pacheco was tough enough to be able to endure all the damage and pressure, but you know, he stayed on his back foot, and there's not a whole lot you can do from there, especially when someone has a lot of volume with their striking. And he kept attacking. He just kept on the attack basically against Pacheco. So yeah, overall we get a unanimous decision win out of Santiago Luna, and I think that puts him at 2-0 in the UFC. Yeah, 2-0 in the UFC. He got a win over Quang Lee by first round TKO in his first fight in the UFC, and comes back with the second hard fought unanimous decision win. So now he's 8-0. He was going to wrestle for the Sun Devils at ASU. Oh yeah, but I hate to say it, ASU has had some great people in there, but those are the rivals for where I live. So it's hard to give ASU their props because there's big rivalries with that. But when it comes down to it, it's Arizona. So you know, we had Cain Velasquez and Ryan Bader too. Had a lot of good people over here actually. But yeah, that was ASU. And yeah. So yeah, next up we had Imanol Rodriguez versus Kevin Borjas. And you guys had Jim Carrey fighter and Jermaine. I don't know if Jim Carrey can move his face anymore. Have you seen those pictures? It's kind of crazy. But yeah, Imanol Rodriguez versus Kevin Borjas. This was a pretty fun fight for sure. We got it into the second round, almost ending the second round. It was 4 minutes and 21 seconds in when Imanol Rodriguez was able to overwhelm. He was able to overwhelm Borjas and get the win in the second round by finish. But have you ever been to a Sun Devils game as an opponent? No, I'd never been there. I liked to fight back in my day, so that probably would have been bad news for me, because Sun Devil fans are fucking annoying and relentless, and they fucking, yeah, they're a bunch of bitches, and they talk a lot of shit, but so does everybody. So the problem is it's so relentless, and I hate to say it, but you know, Clark, who comes in here, Mr. Golf and Glory, who comes in here, they are way too cocky, Infinity. But he's from here, and he likes ASU, and it's so annoying because I don't sit here and just talk mad shit about ASU at all times, but that's his life goal, is to talk shit about the U of A. So it's like, okay. So I give it back when I can, just because, yeah, but it is what it is. ASU is a rival here. It's a big rival too, so yeah, it's tough. But I do know that they did have a lot of wrestlers, especially a lot of big name wrestlers and guys that have come out of there, so I can't hate on it too much. I like how Arizona embraces their heat culture, like the Phoenix Suns have been in Phoenix since the early 70s. Oh yeah. So yeah, Rodriguez though versus Borjas. Borjas looked pretty good for him, dude. He had Rodriguez wobbled for a minute there, and actually dropped him. I didn't even. Did he actually drop him? He did. Holy shit. But yeah, he caught him early, and you know, he followed up pressuring Rodriguez and forcing him to scramble. But you know, Rodriguez was able to survive and turn it around, and he was able to, you know, catch Borjas in that second round. He slowed him down, and he was able to land a lot of big punches on him, as you can see in both these pictures. And he was just able to back him down and just came out aggressive and didn't let the almost early finish against him weigh on him too much. He recovered, and he came back and was precise and was able to land big punches. So getting the TKO win after fighting off that early adversity is always a good thing for a younger guy. This was his UFC debut, coming off of the Contender Series with a first round TKO by uppercut in the Contender Series. So now he moves to 7-0 and wins his UFC debut against Kevin Borjas, who now, for him, I think that's 2 in a row. Yeah, 2 in a row for him in the losing category. He lost to Sumandarji by unanimous decision, and now loses by TKO to Imanol Rodriguez. So yeah, we'll see. He's gonna be fighting off that 3rd in a row, so that's gonna be tough for him. We'll see who they give him next. He's a good fighter, but man, he just he's been on the losing streak lately. So let's move on to Edgar Chairez versus Felipe Bunez. This was a fun fight too, man. I mean, it was a split decision win by Edgar Chairez, but it was hard fought. Bunez put up a good fight as well. As you can see, they both got busted up. Chairez with that crazy head kick there, and you can see how busted up Chairez is though in that top picture with the exchange. Yeah, I mean, it went to decision, but I think this was an exciting, you know, maybe not exciting, but it was an entertaining enough fight to keep you interested. They went back and forth. They both had their good and bad moments in the cage. You know, Bunez had those couple issues with the cage grabbing. He got warned for it, but you know, I guess sometimes it is what it is. Until they take points for these things without any warnings. The warning should be in the back. That's what they always say. Ham hocks. What the fuck? They always say the warning happens in the back, but they continue to give them multiple warnings and don't take any points in the cage. So it's tough. But in the end, Chairez gets the win by split decision. So I mean, it was a close one. We had 29-28 times 2 for Chairez, and then 29-28 one way for Bunez. I don't know why I lost his name there for a second, but yeah, it was a close one. and getting that split decision win for Chairez was good for him in his home country. And that brings us over to King Green versus Daniel Zellhuber. This did not go how I thought it was going to go at all whatsoever. I thought Green was going to be able to give Zellhuber a decent fight, but I did not expect him to play. I saw somebody say, oh, when did King Green turn into Cody Garbrandt? Because of his defensive tactics, rolling everything off and brushing his shoulder off as he makes Zellhuber miss. I feel like he did that one too many fucking times. It was getting a bit annoying. It's already weird that he fights with his hands down, but you know what? If it's effective for him, I can't hate on it too much. But I do feel like he gets hit enough to where maybe at some point in time you raise your hands a little bit more. But it is what it is. That's his fight style, and it's worked for other people in the past. I wouldn't necessarily say it's working for him, but he definitely made it work for him in this fight against Daniel Zellhuber, who showed a lot of promise when he first started. I really thought he was going to be a great up-and-comer. He had a lot of potential. But after he fought that crazy war with Ribovics, it seems like he's fell off a little bit. He's gotten some vets that he's had to face in the past, and he's just not having good luck against them or against anybody really at this point since that Ribovics fight. Michael Johnson was his last opponent, who he lost to unanimous decision. He lost to Ribovics by split decision in that fight of the night performance there. But and it was a war, and I feel like that really put a lot of damage on him. And I don't know, it's just one of those things where he's young enough to where he can. Okay, Antoine said, do you think these are just some bumps in the road? We saw Charles have ups and downs too. Exactly. We have seen this in the past, and Merab lost his first 2 fights in the UFC as well, and then came back and went on a crazy win streak and won the title. So, it is a possibility. Just, Charles Oliveira as well. Everyone said he was that guy that he just gives up, and you can make him give up easily. But that was him in the past, and then he turned into a champion, and we've seen a lot of good out of him. So, I mean, Zellhuber is young enough to bounce back from this, but it could also be something that holds him back for the rest of his career. It's just a matter of how much that damage really wore on him. I mean, that fight, that war, really took out of him when he fought Ribovics, because it was a back and forth, a lot of damage, a lot of head trauma. He's only 26 years old, but that is at that cusp where if he did suffer a lot of damage there, man, it's something that can weigh on him, and maybe he's not doing well with that, and maybe he doesn't recognize it just yet, or no one else really does. Not saying that I would be the one to recognize it and no one else does. People are talking, but I mean, no one else on his team are wanting to face. But maybe it is something that's weighing on him, and that could be the problem. So what I will say is it was a little concerning seeing, King Green took a little bit of damage there too. He did get hit a few times. Zellhuber landed some stuff on him. But it was concerning to me that it seemed like Green was not able to figure out where he was at one point in time. He lost his words. I mean, so do I while I'm talking here, but I'm talking for like an hour straight already, an hour and a half at this point. We're actually running past, but that I start stumbling on my words too. But he just had a fight, and he's usually pretty good on the mic, but he lost his words there and looked really confused and really just kind of out of whack for a second. And then leaving the cage, he just wasn't getting the point that they were trying to tell him to go to the other side, that to exit the other way. He had trouble finding the group to take a picture. It was a little bit weird. I don't know if I haven't really heard anybody else talk about this, but I noticed it. And so someone else had to have noticed it for sure. And I thought it was a little bit concerning. I might be making something out of nothing, but King Green has been knocked out a few times, has been in a couple wars. And I feel like it's a possibility he has some stuff going on with his brain up there with how long he's been fighting and stuff like that. But, it could just be something. It could just be something that happened during the fight, or it just could be, he was just a little off after the fight. I'm not sure, but it's a little weird. So anyway, that takes us to the co-main event, and then we'll wrap it up after that, of course. And let me find the right button. This one was a crazy outcome as well. Sorta, because I just expected Cheeto to do a little better, but he just hasn't. Who would you pick between Green versus Michael Johnson? I think that'd be an interesting matchup, but I probably, especially at the way that Green fought in this fight, if he could fight that way again, I think he would beat Michael Johnson, because I just don't know that Johnson. I think they're kind of at the same level. That'd be a tough fight. Maybe. I mean, I would lean a little more towards Green, but Michael Johnson is still pretty fast for his age, and I mean, he still fights decently well, so I think it'd be a great fight. Hey, Christian Garcia, what's up, man? Welcome in. So yeah, but Cheeto just, oh man, him and Zellhuber are actually really frustrating, because Zellhuber just being younger and the way that he started off, like I was saying, it's just, I can't believe that he can't turn things around with all that potential. But Cheeto has just been it's just been tough for him too. I don't think they cut Cheeto just yet, because I feel like he's enough of a fan favorite to maybe this could be it though, man. Because I mean, you gotta think, okay, so the first fight he lost his title, right? He lost the title fight. Before he lost to Sandhagen, he was on a 4-fight win streak, beats Munoz, gets the title fight, loses that, and then loses to Figgy, Ayman Zahabi, and now David Martinez. And arguably he should have beaten Zahabi and Martinez, just going off of what he's done in the past, his experience, and his status in the UFC. So I don't know, man. It definitely could be. He isn't putting on exciting fights anymore, not like he was in the past. Do you think Cheeto is the greatest Ecuadorian martial artist of all time since he challenged? I mean, I guess so. I don't know too many other guys specifically from Ecuador. In the, before now, Michael Morales is the best martial artist on the planet right now. Well, yeah, probably. If he gets to the title, he'll definitely surpass Cheeto, especially if he wins it. But I think Cheeto's great. It's just, I don't know. I think he was only great for a small period of time. If he can't bounce back from this, I mean, let's see, how old is he? He's 33. He still has a little bit of time, but this is the time you get stuck in the rut, and then time surpasses you, and your skills start to diminish. So, yeah, it's gonna be tough for him. It's do or die now, unless the UFC cuts him already, and then shit, that's gonna be tough for him. But we do have him at 4 losses in a row. David Martinez changed up the hair, but kept the same, fighting style, and gets a big win. I mean, a lot of people were pissed about him saying that he was like running and shit, which would make it hard for Cheeto to get a good rhythm going and stuff like that. But that's his fighting style. He did put a lot of damage on Cheeto as well. His hands looked really fast. His footwork was nonstop, but I do hate how much he was just moving around, to the point where he wasn't even like pressing the action at all at one point in time. And I feel like Cheeto just I think Cheeto just was probably frustrated with it, and just couldn't, he cut him off a couple times, but he didn't follow up with anything really. So it was almost like he finally found a way to cut him off, and then was like, what should I do next? And just didn't pull the trigger. He's a notorious slow starter, but he usually ramps it up, in the first half of the second round, and he just didn't seem to get going until maybe the third round, like Tyler said, where he's saying that Martinez ran the third round and nearly got finished. But I just feel like Cheeto just needs to learn how to get it going faster, and but I just don't know if he has it in him. He just can't seem to get it going at all now. So, he might have had a little bit he might have had a little fight in him in that third round, but to have it it's just way too late. It's way too late. You got to start way earlier than that. You can't give up that many rounds when you're only fighting 3 rounds. So that's my thing. I used to get frustrated with Cheeto because I know he's better than that, and I like the guy, but who knows, man? Who knows what he does next? Who knows what if he's gonna stay in the UFC? I don't know that they really cut him. I feel like they're not going to just yet. Maybe give him one more chance, but how many chances do you give the guy, especially when he's fought 2 really good lower level guys, but still lower level guys? And yeah, he just hasn't had anything going. He just hasn't had anything going for him. So 4 losses in a row. Yeah, that's about the type of fight he might get, is something like Cody Garbrandt. That, yeah. Anyway, let's move on to this main event and finish this off here. Brandon Moreno versus Lonnie Kavanagh. And he beat up that front leg of Moreno, man. Kavanagh started off great by just bashing that leg in and basically getting that calf beaten up to where it kept Moreno unable to do a lot of the explosive movements he'd be able to do. I feel like those leg kicks, the counters, and the range control just really did wonders for him. He might break Tony and Penn losing record. Oh shit. Yeah, so I mean, just keeping that mobility at bay for Moreno, for Kavanagh against Moreno was a good thing, chopping down that lead leg and just not allowing him to be as agile on his feet because he was probably in pain. Kicking that leg out like that, it wears and tears on you. So he wobbled him at one point in time with a hard counter and followed up with some calf kicks. And he had him visibly hurt. By the end of round 2, Moreno looked more, compromised than in a lot of his, other fights recently. So he tried to take momentum in the 3rd round. He tried to put some pressure on, some wrestling attempts and stuff like that, and some cage work. But yeah, there was a whole lot of nothing after coming out of that. He was just never able to get dominant and turn things around in a big way against Kavanagh. And Kavanagh's defense was solid too when it came to the takedown defense and stuff like that. So Kavanagh stayed smart. He kept the kicks coming. He stayed unpredictable, and he was just able to take advantage of Moreno. Moreno never got a takedown, and that's a lot of what his game plan is. He starts things with a takedown, or at least a takedown attempt, and not even being able to get any of that going, especially with that front leg just damaged to hell, visibly damaged too. There's something that just hurt Moreno too much and wasn't able to get anything going. So he was in the home territory but wasn't able to pull it together, and he wasn't able to pull it together and get a win over Lonnie Kavanagh. And the younger guy gets the win and the performance of the night bonus. Kavanagh's 26 and Moreno is 32, if I remember right, what I said earlier. Yeah, I still think Moreno has some fight left in him, but it's tough. It's tough. This is his 2nd loss in a row. His first loss was to Tatsuro Tairo, which is a difficult opponent, and he lost by TKO in the 2nd round on that one. He had 2 wins in a row before that, and now he loses to Lonnie Kavanagh. And it's it's gonna be tough. But Kavanagh is now 3-1 in the UFC, and his last fight was a loss to Charles Johnson by TKO. So back in the win column with a performance of the night bonus, so he gets the 100K. And that brings us to the fight wheel predictions, and I'll tell you right now, those failed miserably, because holy shit, was the fight wheel was way off this time. We had Pacheco to get the win over hold on, what the fuck? Oh, I'm on the prelim card. Pacheco to get the win over Luna, which is not right. And then Borjas to beat Rodriguez. That was not right. Kavanaugh to get the win. That was correct. Zellhuber to get the win. Not right. Vera to get the win. Not right. And Bunez to get the win, and that was not correct either. That was at least a closer fight. But Christian Flores says Zellhuber a bump. Oh man, he still has time to turn it around, but yeah, he's not looking good right now. That's for damn sure. You think Brandon should retire now? It only gets worse from here. I think he has a small chance to turn things around unless he wants to change and try his hand at a different weight class. But yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. Right now, I think it could go either way for him. So we'll just have to wait and see what he thinks. But the Fight Wheel predictions did horribly this week. 1-5 for UFC Mexico City. That's nasty. Kavanaugh being the only correct pick. So let's hope for something better next week. And that about does it for me. We have UFC 326 coming up next weekend. So, oh damn, May 2600. That's, man, I really need to start just taking your bets and betting on them as well, because you're always making money. I know you've had a couple tough ones there, but you seem to be making money all the time. I don't know how much you're putting up though. So Monday, I don't know, man. Monday is Monday. We'll see. We'll see. Work's gonna be tough. We gotta find some work to do. We're in between projects right now, so it might be a little tough, but who knows? I think we still got some other stuff going on, so it should be all right. Monday's always a Monday though, so we'll see. We got UFC 326 coming up next weekend though, so we got a preview coming up on Thursday, so make sure you come back for that. Thanks Infinity, I appreciate you. Make sure you guys like this video before you get out of here. I'd appreciate that. It would help me a lot. And make sure that you subscribe if you haven't already. And I feel like always problems. Yeah, make sure you hit that like. Oh yeah, sorry, that was me. Make sure you hit that like button before you get out of here. I'd appreciate that. It helps out the channel, and you know, it just makes me know that you guys are doing good, or that I'm doing good and you guys like what I'm doing. Going Innings podcast season starting. Watch party next week? I think so. I'm gonna hit up the guys and see what they say. If not, I'll do one on my own, but more than likely we'll get something out of UFC 326. So Max Holloway versus Charles Oliveira for the BMF title. Come back for the preview on Thursday. That's it for me. I appreciate all you guys for being in the chat, all the interactions and stuff. That's it for me. I'm out of here. Take it easy. Peace.